You know how much confidence you have to pull that off? Nobody else. That is white man confidence. Nobody else possesses that level of confidence. Go the wrong way, end up in the wrong place, call the wrong people the wrong name, and be like, I'm right, give me a holiday. No one else can do that. That is the level of confidence we should all aspire to. Is white man levels of confidence. Women couldn't pull that off. You think any woman should be like, I'm gonna sail the wrong way around the earth? They'd be like, burn her, she's a witch. You think people of color could have pulled that off? You think black people could pull that off? Wow, really? Black people just gonna sail around the world, wrong way around, get to the place they're not supposed to be, and probably get arrested for trespassing. Be like, what are you doing here? Be like, man, my bad, man. I thought I was getting to India, man. My bad, man. I apologize. Man, I don't even know what I was thinking, man. You know what, man? We should have never messed with ships. It never turns out good, man. I apologize, man. This won't happen again. Why would you want to bury your history? Specific. Yeah. It was a specific, inspiring story of a man by the name Christopher Columbus, who believed against all odds that he could sail the wrong way around the world and get to India from the other side. Nobody believed in him. Yeah. He was like, I'm gonna do this. They were like, you can't do it, Chris. And he was like, I'm gonna do it. They're like, you can't do it, Chris. He's like, I'm gonna do it. They're like, you can't do it, Chris. And he raised money. He fought for years. He finally got the ships and he sailed the wrong way around the world and he didn't do it. Not only did he not land on the other side of India, he found himself in a place called the Caribbean and he was like, this is India. And the people there were like, I don't know if you've been eating some of the herb we've been leaving about, but this is totally not India. And they're like, this is India and you guys are Indians. They're like, brother, we are not Indians. He's like, I know Indians when I don't see them. You're Indians. You're just on the far side, so you're West Indians. And he stuck with it. Christopher Columbus stuck with it his entire life. Other explorers would come to him, they'd be like, yo, Chris, I don't think you made it to India. He's like, it's India. They're like, I don't think it's India. He's like, it's India. He died refusing to acknowledge the possibility that he never made it to India. Not only that, my friends, he never set foot in America. Ever. Ever. And yet, he had a public holiday named after him in America. That, my friends, is the inspiring story of how white men can fail up. You ever see how awkward it is speaking about history in America? It gets tense. Doesn't matter what history it is, it gets tense. You know, Columbus Day is one of those days. Every year in New York, there's a fight. Every year. Here in Detroit, there was a fight. There was a bust of Christopher Columbus that was around for 110 years. At some point, half of Detroit was like, we need to get rid of it. The other half was like, no, don't get rid of it. It was a huge fight. New York, same thing every year. Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. Yeah, there was an interview on the news I saw once. It wasn't supposed to be funny, but I found it funny. The reporter went up to some guy and was like, sir, what are you going to be doing for Indigenous Peoples Day? And he was like, let me tell you something, it's Columbus Day. I'm sick and tired of people coming in and changing the name. We're proud of that day. It's Christopher Columbus. It's Columbus Day. It's not going to change. In fact, how would you feel if somebody came along, took something that's been around for a long time, and just decided to switch it and call it something else? Huh? How would you feel? I was like, but sir, isn't that the spirit of Columbus Day? I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of Indigenous Peoples Day, the title. I don't like. I think it's a cop-out. I don't think it's specific enough. It's lazy. You know, Indigenous Peoples Day. Which Indigenous people? Where? How? Give me something. You know what I like about Columbus Day is there was so much joy. There's so much to learn. You know, it feels like America's moving in that direction. You know, it wants less and less of its history, wants less and less context. You look what's happening with textbooks. Places like Florida, they want to ban textbooks or cut out the parts of the textbooks that have slavery in the books. And now parents are fighting. They're like, oh no, take the slavery out, it's making the kids feel bad. And other parents are like, keep the slavery in, it's teaching the children. And these parents are fighting back and forth. I'm like, why? What you don't need to be fighting about. No one should be fighting about this. Kids don't read textbooks. They watch TikTok. If you want to get to the kids, that's where you gotta be. There was slavery. Ships came. Yeah, It was really, really something. You know, you moved through that level, there for more than an hour. At the end of it, I was so taken by the question that I was asking myself, who will you be when history calls, that I texted one of my best friends, David Meyer. He's actually the first American I ever became friends with. He came to South Africa by chance 20 years ago, was on like a school project. We met by chance, became friends by chance, and then he convinced me to come to America and do comedy, which I had never planned to do. The rest is history. So we've been friends since that day, right? And yeah, it's a beautiful story. And also our lives are so different. He's this 6'5", lanky white boy from North Carolina, right? Sweetest guy ever, super sincere. And because of that, I love playing pranks on him. And as we left that exhibit, I texted him and I was like, yo, Dave, I need to ask you a favor. And he responded, he's like, yo, dude, what's up? And I said, if slavery comes back, do you promise to have me as one of your slaves and treat me really well? And then he responded, he was like, dude, what? And I said, do you promise to have me as your slave and treat me very well? And he was like, what are you talking about? And I said, yes or no? And then I just saw the little dots and it was like typing, 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 and then he called me. I was like, yo, what's up? He's like, dude, what are you even talking about? What is happening? What do you mean slavery? I was like, I just want to know from you, Dave. If slavery comes back, do you promise to have me as one of your slaves and treat me really well? He's like, dude, no. What do you mean? Slavery is not coming back. Slavery is not coming back. I was like, that's what they said about Ghostbusters. Just answer the question. Will you or will you not have me as one of you? He's like, no, dude, no. I would never have you as one of my slaves. I would never own slaves, like enslaved people, actually. I would never have enslaved people. I don't think that's right. I was like, yo, save your sanctimonious bullshit right now, Dave. I just want to know if you would have me as one of your slaves or not and treat me well. He's like, no, I would never do that. I was like, oh, okay. I see. So you're just going to let me be somebody else's slave. That's what you're saying. Huh? Slavery comes back, and now they catch me, and now they're busy whipping me. Now I'm Django out in these streets, huh? Yeah? I'm getting whipped because my best friend wouldn't use his white privilege to help me by making me one of his slaves so that we could hang out, huh? I'm in a field. I could be with you in the house playing PlayStation, Dave, huh? Yeah, we could be back in Call of Duty, in Verdansk, like the good old days. But no, you want to be so woke that I get whipped by another white person who wants to keep slaves. He's like, no, dude. What? I was like, you want me to be a slave? He's like, no, dude. I was like, you want me to be whipped, don't you? He's like, no, dude, okay. He's like, okay, all right, fine, dude. If slavery came back, then yeah, I'd have you as one of my slaves and I'd treat you well. I was like, aha, so you would have slaves. I was like, all right, I gotta go. And he's like, no! He still hasn't forgiven me. Everyone was asking themselves the question. Everyone. One of the most unique encounters I experienced happened when there was a group of white people who were standing at the exhibit, and they were very, very liberal white people, right? Like very liberal white, like very, very liberal white people. Like they were feeling it more than the black people there. They were. Yeah, to show how much they were feeling it, there was a moment where some of the black people who were walking around the exhibit, right? Because there's black people walking around the exhibit and there's white people there, because everyone can go, right? And so the black people who were there were living what I would consider the full black experience, which is being a human being. So some people were crying, and then a moment later they were talking to their friends, sharing stories, recounting, laughing, etc. And one person laughed, was like talking to their friend, like, ha 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 ha, yeah. And then the woman, there was a white woman here, was like the leader of the crew. She turned at that laugh, was like, ha ha, and she was like, shh. how liberal they were. And just when I thought she couldn't top that, she was looking at a photograph, one of the first pictures that's ever really been taken. And it was a picture of a white man on a plantation, standing there, smiling, standing in a field. Just like smiling in the picture. And this woman is standing looking at the picture and she's like, if I was there when that was happening, I swear to God, if I was there when that was happening, I would have never smiled. You know when a sentence has the exact conclusion you did not predict? Like this was, I thought she was going, if I was there, I would have fought, I would have freed, I would have, no. She's like, I would have had slaves, but I wouldn't have enjoyed it. Just be crying, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I'm so sorry. Yeah, dust behind the couch as well, but I'm so sorry. I can't.